Hey guys, Stevie B here with another episode of the Athlete Protocol. And today, we're going to go over hip mobility. All those low back pains, all those hamstring areas, and all those IT bands, the quads, anywhere you're feeling a lot of that radiating pain or any type of throbbingness, achiness, it usually has to do with an impingement on the low back or has to do with not enough space and movement in the hip area. So we're going to go through a good little exercise aspect that I go through before I perform things that'll open up those hip capsules, loosen up those hips, and also alleviate any of those throbbing areas. So let's get right into it. This is the Athlete Protocol. So we're going to start off with a foam roller. Everybody's familiar with these, I'm sure. You know, you have your different grades of it. Obviously, the black is one of the hardest, and then above this are like PVC pipes and things like that. We're going to go right, I like to go right around the circumference of the upper thigh, which we're going to go from our quad, we're going to go to our IT band, our hamstrings, and we're also going to go on the inner thigh as well. We're going to start right at the top of the hamstring where the insertion is. It takes a lot of the brunt and it pulls in from the top of the hamstring and the glute. So we're going to roll from the top of there, and we're going to roll down to the back of the knee and go all the way back. We'll do about 10 passes on that. Make sure you use the other leg on top of the leg that's being rolled out for leverage and apply more pressure. After we get 10 passes in on the hamstring, we're going to roll right over on the other side, right onto the side of the IT band and the TFL. This is your performance muscle, and this tends to get tight on people that don't take care of it, but tight universally because it is the performance muscle that goes all the way down the leg, helping us to walk, to run, anything dynamic or explosive. Same thing, 10 passes on this. And then we are going to roll right onto the front to the quad. So I like to kick one leg out on the side to keep the balance and also apply all the weight on that one leg. You know, you feel it out to the point where you can roll. Well, it is going to feel tender, especially if there is any tight areas. If there are any tight areas, just hold it on there for like 5 seconds and then continue to roll it out. We want to release as much of the muscle as possible so it's nice and loose, and it's not causing any restriction when we need to perform. And then lastly, we're going to go on the inner thigh. We're going to switch the foam roller to a vertical motion, up and down. And we're going to apply it to the inside of the thigh, straightening out the outside of the leg. And we're going to roll left and right. Right up to the groin area, and then back down to the inside of the knee. Same thing, 10 passes. Apply pressure on that side. The other leg is just dead weight, just holding there. After we're done with the foam roller, we're going to move right into resistant pulls. Now these are going to cause some resistance on the hip capsule. It's going to be helping it open up so you get better rotation, better fluidity for running, any type of movement, weightlifting, anything like that. That's what happens a lot of the times, that the hip capsule and the hip joint gets crunched and there's less movement in there. That's why you get a lot of the pain and a lot of the pulls on a lot of the other muscles like the hamstrings, the quads, the low back, and all those areas. So the hips play a big part in our performance. So the first one we're going to do lateral pulls. So you're going to grab a band, tie it to something that's pretty stable that you can pull on, and we're going to get a good set of tension in it. Step out to the side, and you're going to wrap it right along the inside of the upper thigh. Wraps around here, and what this is doing, it's going to be pulling the hip this way, helping open up the inside cavity and the capsule here. So you're going to pull in and out, pull back in and out. So you do 10 reps just like that. And if you're not getting enough tension, work to the point where you can walk out and you're feeling enough tension where it's causing resistance, shifting that hip to the outside, opening it up. After the lateral pulls, we're going to go right into a piriformis pull. So we're going to get into a piriformis stretch, but also the same thing. The band is tied around the upper hip. You're going to reach out, flex the front leg over the back leg, which is extended. This leg is straight. And what you're going to do is just shift forward. While the tension's being pulled back that way, you're shifting forward, so you're getting opposite tension, opening up the hip capsule. 10 reps, same thing. And the last one of the resistant band stretches and pulls is the hip extension pull. So it's going to be in the same area. You're just changing the aspect and the angles of where you're pulling out on the hip complex and the capsule. So it's going to be here. It's going to look like a hip flexor pull. You're going to have it up high on the hip, and all you're going to do is lean straight into it and pull back and forth. Nice, easy. We don't want to overstretch it. We don't want to over pull on the hip flexor or the capsule. We just want nice in and out movements, causing mobility, causing some space in there, so that when you take it off, you're going to be nice and loose. Ten reps, same thing. And that is your hip extension pull. And rounding out this the mobility aspects for this, we're going to finish off with some strength aspects for your hips. We're going to go into hip thrusts. We're going to go into kickbacks. And also we are going to go into fire hydrants. All of those, you can do reps of 10 on the single leg aspect, same thing, reps of 10. And then finally the last one will be a double leg hip thrust. So let's get right into it. And this will finish off your mobility for strength. So the first one we're going to do fire hydrants. We want a good stable base, hands up underneath the shoulders, good core tight, flat back, knees nice and square. We're going to take the outside leg, lift it out up to the side, and bring it back down for 10 reps that way. Now we're going to go right into our reverse kicks. Same position as you are in your fire hydrants, but we're going to kick the heel back up and towards the ceiling, flexing the glute and firing through the hamstring and tightening the midsection. And lastly, we're going to finish off with a double leg hip thrust. Driving through the heels, flex the toes on the way up. That'll force you to push through the heels, tighten your midsection, and arch your back just slightly on the way up. And those are your hip strengthening exercises to complete this whole episode. And that completes the mobility episode for us. So remember, if you're feeling tight or in any of those areas, these are a great way to alleviate any of those aches and pains before you have to go into your next training. So remember, train at your own pace, compare yourself to nobody. That's how you keep progressing, become the best athlete you can become. This is the Athlete Protocol, and I'll see you guys next time.